OCD is a horrible, horrible illness. Really loving, caring parents can have a child with OCD. So it's not a cultural thing, it's not a socio-economic, it's nothing like that. It can affect anybody, and it can literally debilitate anybody very, very quickly if it's not dealt with.
People with OCD have really distressing, repeated, intrusive obsessions. Those can be ideas, images, impulses. As a result of the anxiety that they get, they engage in compulsions or rituals, and those can be physical or mental rituals, and this takes up increasing amounts of time and can take over people's lives.
Yeah, I've lost a few friends because of it, as in, you know, you get to know people and then they don't fully understand OCD and what it means to you. So as soon as they start interfering with it, you lose face, and that kind of affects things down the line. I went to the cinema with my mum, and there was a scene involving my trigger about halfway into the movie, and there was an hour and a half left, and I just sat there in the corner crying and covering myself up because I didn't want to see anything else that would upset me. I wouldn't let Mum or myself go home, so I had to spend the night at my grandma's. After the cinema, I was thinking, well, the car needs to be cleaned, I have to have a 2-hour shower, Mum has to have an hour-long shower, etc. And it all just builds up. I was drinking about half a bottle of mouthwash. I was putting soap in my eyes. Yeah, I had chemical burns from all the different types of soap. It got a lot worse because the more I did it, the more it wasn't good enough.
It started off quite early, at an age where I thought nothing of it because I was so young. And even then it wasn't really much of an issue, I just remember being really distressed by it. My OCD goes hand in hand with my emetophobia, which is a phobia of vomit. Both in the worst times and even now, it's just this constant kind of like, what if I'm sick? What if this happens? That leads me to being sick. What if somebody's sick? And it's this constant kind of like, what if? And suddenly I feel paralysed by this anxiety and I can't do anything. It doesn't matter where I am or who I'm with. I just need to go home, otherwise something really, really bad will happen. It got to the point where I was like, I had no quality of life. I wasn't desperate to get better, I was desperate to be free of it. And I feel like that was the difference. I didn't want help. I felt like I was past help and that there were others who needed it more than I did, because the only thing that I thought was going to help me was dying.
You can imagine as a parent, your child is in terrible distress and you can't put your arms around them. You can't touch her. For someone suffering with extreme OCD, even getting out of bed, putting on clothes, can take 2 hours. To get out the front door, if at all, doesn't happen. You don't live life anymore as you know it.
I never really thought about outside the room. I just kind of only wanted to stay in that one room and didn't want to go anywhere. Because I was ill, it didn't really faze me that I was in there for so long and every day. It didn't really cross my mind that I was just not really living properly.
It tears a family apart. It takes over the life of the sufferer and those around them. Our whole world stopped, changed, when Sophie became ill.
It's particularly horrible for children because they don't always understand what's going on. It robs them of their lives, their childhood. It makes them grow up too quickly. It makes them scared of a world that actually they don't need to be scared of. They're frightened of something they don't need to be scared of.
OCD is really treatable, but if you do nothing about it, very typically it grows and changes, and the commonest pattern is actually for it to get more serious and more debilitating over time.
CBT and ERP are definitely the way forward. CBT helps you to think differently about your OCD. With the ERP, it's exposure. It's the more you expose your OCD to whatever it is it's scared of, the more it will shrink back.
If a parent said to me they weren't sure about seeking help, I would say you have to help, because the therapists can do so much to help the individual fight OCD. No one should have to fight that alone.
It can take so many forms within one person. changing, doing things perfectly. But the fascinating thing is that the therapy works for whatever type of OCD that you have. It's almost mechanical. You can learn the skills to fight back at it.
Treatment has helped massively in various different ways. I've got into the actual root cause of the OCD, which is the emetophobia. So I feel like for the first time I've actually noticed a difference.
Myself and Sophie will talk constantly about how she feels, about her OCD and how she fights it, and that's something that we will never let go because she is stronger than her OCD.
Life now after treatment is amazing. It's full of so many possibilities. I'm really proud that I was able to overcome that and starting to live a proper life again.
In treatment, they get their lives back, and that's what I've seen happen over and over again. So if you learn the skills to know how to deal with it, you can fight back at it.
As long as you really commit to the treatment, it's gonna work, because you will get better. You will feel free by the end of it, but you need to commit to it, and it's gonna probably be the best thing that's happened to you so far.